Real quick fact: we are to assume. Maybe Jonathan's going to say something about this, but we are to assume that Bill and Ted kept their promise and returned the figures back to their timeline. That means most of them returned to terrible fates. Most of the historical figures Bill and Ted brought back with them died horrifically. Several, including Socrates, Joan of Arc, Billy the Kid, and Abraham Lincoln, were either executed or assassinated. Sigmund Freud died by assisted suicide. Some people believe Napoleon Bonaparte's death under house arrest was the result of arsenic poisoning. Historically, Genghis Khan and Ludwig van Beethoven died of natural causes.
Yes, I was gonna mention all of that a little later too. Yes, I was gonna mention that. Uh, I'm actually gonna go into something else after.
Mm,
I'm just waiting for a scene to happen. But what
okay.
I was about to say about the report is they did they didn't really do any research. All they did was find historical figures. So
Jonathan, we know that. We,
so so some of the stuff they were saying within the presentation was as if they actually did the research and you.
but I just gave you a fact that Ted said, I don't think that's going to work. So he had a little joke in there like that battle is going to fail.
But still, they didn't really research. They actually, the one they were doing the presentation, they were actually stating facts that they should even know.
But
Like,
also, like, even Bill was like, oh, I know I have an Oedipal complex. They have to know what that means.
right? What? Where did that even come from? Whatever. It
Jonathan,
was
you are
confusing.
thinking too deeply about this movie. Are you kidding? Can I continue? Can I finish the movie and then
Well,
you
we
can
also
get
discussed
into
that Bill is actually seems to be he seems to know some stuff. That's why he's like a little bit smarter than Ted.
right? But let me finish the movie and then you could get into your things or come in when we talk about the
Okay.
princesses. So back at home, Bill and Ted are still playing poorly at home in the garage. I guess we're to assume that Ted is not going to military school because he passed his oral report. So they're back at home practicing their music in the garage. Rufus shows up to see how they're doing. He has also brought the princesses with him. He has cleaned them up with new clothes and gets them credit cards. Jonathan, what do you want to say about the princesses?
Okay. So about the princesses. All right. So Rufus brought these princesses, and by the way, these princesses are Princess Elizabeth and Princess Joanna.
Okay.
It's not to say this is not Queen. This is not the
Which queen would it
princess.
be?
This is not the
Queen?
princess. This is not the Princess Elizabeth that ends up being Queen Elizabeth the First, right? Some of you may know who that is. That would be a big deal taking her out of history. But even if it's not the Princess Elizabeth that ends up being Queen Elizabeth the First, we're still thinking about these two women. Their whole family lineage just got destroyed. Whatever family they had, they had, in if they weren't taken
They
from
need
history,
to be
it's
with the
completely
great
gone.
ones, Jonathan.
That family tree is completely obliterated, and
Just in case destroyed wasn't enough, obliterated.
obliterated. And also, I don't care if they brought all the historical figures back to their timeline, to what their resolve was, to their final deaths, because their whole interaction of what they went through in the future had to have changed any decision making or any mindset or just have some type of butterfly effect, right?
Right.
So the present day should look very different now.
Jonathan wants Back to the Future.
the the, pre,
Jonathan wants the butterfly effect.
the present day,
Jonathan
right?
wants all these more serious, well thought out movies.